Hey, thanks so much for joining us for this Ask Amy episode. We're doing something a little bit different this week because we have been spending a lot of time investigating the Houston Water Department over the last couple of weeks. And maybe you've seen a story here, a story there, but we have produced a large amount of content and we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to see it all. So that's what we're going to do today is show you all of the stories that we have produced and all of the investigations that we have done that started with complaints from people just like you, Houston water customers who were emailing us or calling us about high water bills, about inaccurate meter readings, and just problems in general with customer service, trying to get things corrected with their water bills. And they started with phone calls and emails from people just like this guy, Andrew Chesney. Take a look.
From frequent checks of the water meter at his family's West Houston home,
something fundamentally gone wrong,
to routine inspections of his fluctuating water bills,
8,000 gallons.
Andrew Chesney has tried for months to make them make sense.
Just randomly paying bills with no explanation just doesn't sit right with me.
With just one baby and his wife, Chesney says his small family's water usage should be fairly consistent. But his monthly water bills have bounced up and down from $43 one month, then $550 the next, $389 in June, $139 another month. Chesney paid these bills in full. Then, in September, an unexplained adjustment to his bill, adding $1,169.
It makes it impossible, to be honest. These large swings in bills from one month to the next, you just can't budget.
Repeated phone calls with questions to the water department went unanswered. And then Chesney discovered the numbers on his meter weren't even moving. Check it out. His August and September bills show the meter reading at 1001. And on October 13th, it was still at the same read. The water department said he had an open work order to replace or repair the problem. But when?
The ownership is just not there.
Nobody's taking responsibility.
Nobody at all.
After weeks of back and forth, the water department told us it had estimated Chesney's bills for 3 months. And then in March, the city didn't even generate a bill. When the city did an actual read, they discovered he had used more water than what they had estimated. That's why they say Chesney owed an extra $1,100.
It's almost like going to the grocery store today, paying for your goods, and then on your next visit, you get told that you owe X, Y, and Z from previous visits.
And if I can't count on the water department to send me a bill for what I actually owe within a month or 2 months or 3 months, how can I budget?
That's a very reasonable question.
Carol Haddock is the director of Houston's Public Works Department. She said the reason for so many estimated reads are the devices on the meters that send your reading from the meter to the city. They're old and outdated.
We have infrastructure that's at the end of its life, and we're seeing that we're not getting reads as regularly as we could.
The city is already working to replace them, but Haddock said supply chain issues means it may take years.
Well, and I will admit that this is an area that is frustrating. It's frustrating for us, too. We do not like to do estimated billing.
To protect yourself, you should check your water bills every so often. If your meter read was estimated, it has to be noted on your bill. By city code, the water department cannot estimate more than 3 months in a row.
Excessive water bills, outrageous and irregular meter reads. For months, our KPRC2 Investigates team has heard your complaints about your city of Houston water bills.
Customers are feeling drained and they're frustrated that there is no apparent recourse and seemingly no one at the city will listen. So all this week, investigator Amy Davis is pushing city leaders for solutions.
Life on Fortune Street in Acres Homes is a sad irony.
This is how it sits into my Facebook right here. This is what I use and I bathe with it.
This is how 68-year-old Edward Williams lived in his 2-bedroom flat for 4 years with no running water.
Flush the commode.
What was the hardest part about all of that?
My grandkids wanted to come over and spend the weekend with Pawpaw, and I couldn't deal it.
Williams says he didn't tell anyone about his situation until his son stopped by in April and tried to use the bathroom.
I said, well, son, just don't worry about it. I'll get it later. He said, what's the problem? I said, well, my water's off. I got to flush it, by the buckets. He said, what? He said, how long that been? I said, 4 years. He said, 4 years? He said, no, Dad, you ain't got to live like this.
William's son set up a payment plan with the water department to pay down what his father owed. They turned his water back on with the first payment of $1,100 and an agreement to pay the remainder of his $2,500 debt each month. That was the end of April. But just as Williams thought his water woes were over, his relief was drained when his very next bill showed he owed thousands more dollars.
I done worked myself to a frenzy, prayed on it.
His is just one of the examples KPRC2 Investigates identified where the city leaves customers like Williams financially and mentally drained over confusing water usage bills and a lack of communication and transparency.
It is our desire every single day to provide good service, to provide good and accurate billing.
Carol Haddock is the director of Houston Public Works, the boss of the water department.
We recognize that there's always room for improvement.
Williams has worked for 5 months to get answers from the city about this $7,493 bill.
With no explanation of where it came from.
Can't nobody tell me nothing.
It's your problem to figure that out.
Yes, and we did. Ain't nothing here.
Williams' landlord hired a plumber to dig up the water line and look for leaks.
Couldn't find no leak in the pipes. As you can see, no leak.
He sent the city this plumber's report from ARS that reads, I don't believe there is a leak in the water line, and as a professional plumber would request the responsible authority replace the meter and have it tested. While one city employee after another put Williams off, he spotted a public works employee removing something from his water meter box at the end of August.
He goes up there and snatches all the old stuff out the box. I say, hey, what you doing? Oh, I'm upgrading. Well, you can't do that. We on a review here.
But Williams says there was no test and no review, just the city holding firm that he owed the money.
I have a $7,000 water bill.
When the water department never responded, Williams took his plea straight to the top, the Houston City Council.
Everybody I talk to, I can't get no help.
This is unconscionable.
Is there someone from Public Works here?
Despite voicing their concerns, council members sent Williams right back to the water department.
There's a gentleman standing back there. If you can get with him.
I'm not trying to get over. I want to pay my bill, not someone else's bill. I pay my bills. And I really believe this $7,000 ain't mine.
Williams is not alone. Dozens of customers have sent us their outrageous bills. $31,000, $8,500, more than $1,400, more than $900. This one for more than $500.
What's going on?
There's a number of things going on.
Over the last 15 months, we have called and emailed the city of Houston about these issues. Water customers billed thousands of dollars, meters unread month after month, unexplained outrageous adjustments to customers' bills.
Like every company in the city of Houston and nationwide, we struggle to find enough good employees to fill our positions. Our vacancies in our call center, we've been as high as 50% vacancies over the last year and a half.
Haddock says the call center now has about 30 to 40% of its positions unfilled. And aging infrastructure means the city is receiving fewer actual meter reads each month. But none of that explains why no one is listening to Edward Williams.
Just common sense would say if you saw where this man lived, there is no way that he used 74,000 gallons of water in 1 month.
And that, you're right, that's a lot of water, and that doesn't make sense that somebody is getting that kind of bill. And those are exactly the kind that the mayor says reach out to us and, you know, let's work with them one-on-one and try and figure out what's going on, what happened.
Public Works has now agreed to adjust Williams' bill. They're still doing the math to determine how much they will reduce it with what's called an unusually large water bill adjustment. Until our interview, no one from the city told Williams that he might qualify for that. If you get an unexplained irregularly high bill, you might be eligible for the same type of adjustment. We will walk you through how to apply for one on click2houston.com. Tomorrow morning, we are continuing our investigation. We'll show you which homeowners are using the most water each month and how much they're paying for it. I'm Amy Davis, KPRC 2 News.
So all this week, KPRC2 Investigates is looking into your complaints about irregular and inaccurate water bills.
And this morning, investigator Amy Davis is showing you which homeowners in Houston use the most water and just about how much they're paying each month. Amy, good morning.
Good morning. We thought this might be interesting just to put things into perspective, because we have received customers' bills showing charges of thousands of dollars over the last 12, 15 months. We know those bills are egregious, but we wanted to know what Houston's biggest water users are paying each month. And here's what the water department told us. So far this year, they say customers in zip code 77056 have used the most water on average each month. This is the Galleria, Tanglewood, Woodway areas. They use about 11,600 gallons of water a month, and they pay about $214 every month on their bill. Take a look at how much their bills have increased since last year. So in 2021, the average water bill in the same zip code was $130. But the city also says they're using a lot more water now. They say all of us are. Last year, the customers in this specific zip code used about 8,800 gallons of water each month. So they're using about 3,000 gallons more on average. The second biggest water users are people who live in 77024. This is West Houston in the Bunker Hill area. We have posted the top 10 zip codes in our area where customers are using the most water and how much they're paying on average each month. If you want to see if your area is on that list, or maybe how your neighborhood compares, you can head to click2houston.com. And we do have an update to the story that we showed you yesterday in our morning newscast about Andrew Chesney, who has had those wildly fluctuating bills and then was hit with an unexplained $1,100 adjustment or extra charge in September. Yesterday afternoon, just a few hours after our story aired, he said he received a call from the water department to let him know they are finally putting his account into administrative review.
Okay.
This is months after. That's the next step. I mean, so he's been asking for this since June, just for a callback, and we started asking in October. Right. So finally a little bit of action, and we'll follow through and tell you what happens in each of these cases. That
took a lot of muscle to get a little bit of action, huh?
And then think about, we have a running database of everybody who's reaching out to us. I mean, for each of those, it takes weeks and months to get an answer. So we're hoping that this can kind of shine some light.
Shorten that time.
Right.
Get a bigger response, better response at least.
Yeah.
All right, Amy, thank you.
Well, water, of course, is a basic necessity. You need it to cook, clean, and to stay healthy. But the rising cost of water in the city of Houston is draining some customers.
Tonight, KPRC2 Investigates Amy Davis is asking why rates are skyrocketing and what they're getting for the extra money that we're all paying.
Opposes. So all in favor.
From city council chambers to your kitchen, one vote increased the amount you will pay for water every year for the next 5 years. By April 2026, some Houstonians will be paying 78% more for the same amount of water.
We have constituents calling all the time wondering why are their water bills so high.
Mary Nan Huffman wasn't on city council last year when the rate increases passed, but she's seeing the impact now in her West Houston District G.
And we're especially seeing senior citizens hit hard that are on fixed incomes.
And former Houston Public Works Director Daniel Kruger said council should have asked more questions.
The city hasn't explained well why they needed to be raised as much as we did.
Kruger says it's just budgeting 101. Public Works requested increased water rates and got them without showing exactly how the extra money will be used for which projects and when they'll be completed.
And show me where every dollar is going.
That's right.
We don't know that.
We don't know that.
Take a look. After the rate increases passed, the 2023 city budget shows those higher water rates are expected to bring in an extra 23% in revenue. And according to the budget, the Water and Sewer Operating Fund will be sitting on more than $800 million after all of their expenses. Current Director of Public Works Carol Haddock says the money is needed for pending projects that they couldn't have put in the budget before the rate increases were passed.
We are eating that down, and if you go back to the presentation we did last year to City Council, we show how over the course of 5 years we're actually going to reduce that significantly.
The next water rate increase is in April. Councilmember Huffman said council did agree that if the city gets some federal infrastructure grants it's applied for, members agreed to revisit the rate increases and possibly roll them back. We will stay on top of that and let you know if Houston gets any of those federal dollars. I'm Amy Davis, KPRC 2 News.
Drained. That is how Houston water customers say they feel after trying to get help from the city of Houston.
Yeah, they want explanations about inaccurate meter reads, huge water bills, and now dirty, murky water. Tonight, KPRC2 investigator Amy Davis continues this search for answers.
Sharice Anderson and her husband built their dream home on Houston's northeast side in Saddle Creek Farms. Homes sit on huge lots in a picturesque subdivision.
15-year-old, I have a 12-year-old and a 9-year-old.
It's everything Sharice wanted for her family of 5. Except one thing.
We just want regular water. We want safe water.
Clear water.
Clear water, yes.
Instead, this is what she and her neighbors are getting. Brown, murky, rusty-looking water. When they fill up their bathtubs, their swimming pools, and their glasses.
You may have brown water, you may not today, and if you don't today, then you're definitely going to have it at the end of the week. You know, it's that frequent now.
How many of you have called to report this problem to the city?
All of us.
Yeah, everybody.
I've been calling for about 4 years.
Each time they called, they say the city sends crews from private company Infomark to flush the hydrants. It used to clear up the water for a month or so. But the brown stuff now comes back so often, some homeowners have invested thousands of dollars in whole house filtration systems.
Once per year is all I'm supposed to have to change this, per the manufacturer of the filter.
Families here are changing the pricey filters far more often to keep their water running clear. Take a look. The filter on the left is brand new, bright white. This is what the filter looks like after just 2 months.
If anyone tries to tell us that this is normal, we're not buying it.
Water from the sprinkler system has stained the stucco on their homes and the towels and bedding from their washers. And when Crystal Lovelace filled her brand new pool in May, it looked like a swamp. She called 311 and a crew came again to flush the hydrants.
They didn't have an answer. They just said it is what it is, basically, and there's nothing that we could do about it.
Emails to Public Works, their council member, and state regulators have gone nowhere.
There's no answers, and they have just stopped responding.
This is a sample of the water that would have flowed into the Andersons' home if not for their filtration system. To get answers, we took it to Envirodyne Laboratory for testing.
My first reaction was, wow, because I've been doing this for a while and I hadn't seen iron quite that bad.
Water expert Tanny Busby said iron is naturally occurring in water. It's not harmful to your health, and you can't see it until the levels get so high that it can't be dissolved. The Texas Commission on Environmental Quality says drinking water shouldn't have more than 0.3 milligrams of iron per liter. But the Saddle Creek Farm sample had 164 milligrams. That's 548 times more than the state standards allow.
They wanted to know if you'd like to come have a glass of water.
I'm happy to go to any part of the city of Houston and sit down and meet with residents, and I'm not afraid of our water system.
The city says they've received 60 water complaints from people in Saddle Creek Farms over the last 5 years. The city is just now waiting for the state to sign off on a pilot study to put an additive in the water to reduce how often brown water runs out of the taps. A city spokesperson responded to one of our requests saying TCEQ will review the proposal within 60 days. That was on October 27th. Yet the state agency told us the city didn't formally submit their proposal until November 1st, after our inquiry into possible solutions.
This has taken longer than it should. It's taken longer than we would like it to. We are committed to getting to addressing this for our neighbors. We don't believe that anybody should have anything less than superior water, which is what our water system rating is.
A TCEQ spokesperson told me the Houston Region Office conducted an investigation of the Saddle Creek Farm system on November 4th. They said that investigation is ongoing. Separately, TCEQ said it will respond to the city's request to start that pilot study by December 31st. We will stay on top of both of these issues and bring you updates. On click2houston.com, you'll find links to report water quality issues you have to the state. I'm Amy Davis, KPRC 2 News.
Inaccurate meter readings and soaring high water bills, leaving many Houston water customers feeling drained.
All this week, we've explained the problems. Now, this morning, investigative reporter Amy Davis is here with what global research firm J.D. Power has to say about the Houston Water Department.
Yeah, guys. So J.D. Power has conducted the U.S. Water Residential Customer Satisfaction Study for 7 years, since 2016, looking at 89 municipal water departments. And it says that Houston is below average. That is their latest study. The company surveys thousands of people in each city, asking questions about water quality, billing, customer service online and by phone. So the highest possible score is 1,000. Houston's score for 2022 is just 716. Houston customers surveyed said some of the biggest concerns they have are the quality of the water. 42% of people said they never drink the tap water in Houston. So that puts us like 5th on the list from other cities that where customers also say the same thing. Water pressure, a huge concern. More people in Houston said they have low water pressure than anywhere else in the country where they do this study. And then long wait times by phone and a poor digital experience also bother those people surveyed. And J.D. Power says Houston scores are getting lower. They've dropped every year for the last 4 years.
We're seeing satisfaction getting lower and lower for City of Houston. It used to be not so bad. More recently, we've been reporting results that are towards the lower end of the performance when I compare that to everyone else in the nation.
Okay, so the average score for all other utilities, the 89 included in the survey, is 731, so that's not huge. Illinois American Water came in first for the 3rd year in a row, this year scoring 773.
That's the highest.
That's the
So nobody's
highest.
in the 800s, the 900s. I mean, nobody's even close to 1,000.
Right, so they're the highest, but like New York comes at 763. I mean, some of the other big cities, New Jersey, American Water, 752.
Okay.
Pennsylvania, 744. And
so take it
ours
on a
is
curve
716.
almost. And
Yeah. So we are below average when you look at all of those.
a lot to be left to be desired.
There is, and we're staying, we've mentioned to people, we're staying on top of this story, this investigation. We've gotten, close to 100 emails and phone calls from people this week, so we want to look into some of those cases.
Not going to quit till we get better water and a new billing system. Let's do it, Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
Goals.
Yes. Thanks.